Today, our guest is Greg Hoy, coming at you from the state of Colorado. Greg, welcome to the Hip Spotlight.
Good to be here, Andy. Always a pleasure to speak with you and the team at Hip Video.
Well, it's been a big year for Greg Hoy. Hit music, which the audience can see right behind me. Brand new record. Many records in your illustrious musical career, but as someone who has enjoyed them all, I think you'd have to agree with me. This one might just very well be your best.
I mean, I think if you're going to name your album Hit Music, you're setting a bar that needs to be complete and authentic to the name. And that's what I strove to do with this one.
Well, in fact, you talk about hit music, and as you know, I spend my weekends listening to hit music. Casey Kasem presents the 70s Greatest Hits USA, the music expert countdown. And in the song, you speak very eloquently about how it can be your escape from a world where, yes, Greg, it does look like it's sky full of rain. And it's got the sun right behind it. But sky looks like it's full of rain and it's coming at us.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of ways to look at the future right now. I think you're seeing a lot of different reactions and responses to it. The thing that works for me is to keep making art, keep making music, get in rooms with fellow escapists and appreciators, and enjoy the now, enjoy what we have. Because I think, especially with the connectivity and the internet, it makes it all too easy to fall down some very dark rabbit holes about where things are and where they're headed.
Well, I think it's a guy named Greg Hoy that's encouraging us on Hit Music to stay fun. Stay fun.
I mean, it's a pretty good philosophy. It works for me. I think that a lot of how we spend our days is not fun. And I always encourage people to find the fun, if not in the totalitarian of their time, at least even within the mundane moments.
Well, 6 years ago when we first became friends, everything was normal. Nothing was weird. And many members of the human family have not fared well starting in March of 2020. And yet you just continued to create not just music, but life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 2020 was a endurance test, as I think you said. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really good way to look at that year. And becoming a parent during it, July 2020, I had just finished my Cacophony record the month before that. And I distinctly remember we had gone into the studio, we had to wear the masks, and we had the thermometers, and we're staying away from each other at Tiny Telephone in the East Bay of San Francisco. And I remember all of us being so full of joy just to be out of the house and to be in presence with each other, even though we tried to, stay away from each other. And I remember making that record thinking, this is the last time this is the way we're all going to feel. I remember just having that. I'm like, the memory of this record will be, we will never feel this way again. And by that, I don't mean there won't be more, problems worldwide, whatever's going to hit us next. It was more like, for me, I thought to myself, I will be a parent in a month. And I will never want to feel as helpless as I felt when I made that record. And I think a lot of people, I think one of the joys that came out of 2020 and of the pandemic is a lot of people have made some very big decisions about their belief system. And I think that if there's a silver lining, if there's a sun behind the clouds, for me, that is the best thing that came out of that time period. A lot of people have sort of opened their eyes a little bit about what they should be doing with their time, how precious life is. You know, insert all your classic cliches.
Well, I think we can agree it was an insane, primordial, stinking quicksand.
Good one. Who wrote that lyric?
So this new record, Hit Music. Sure, you're talking about staying fun and hit music. We all love hit music. But you're also speaking about the end times and the devil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the things I'm exploring even further since making that record is the idea of good and evil, and you know, the spiritual battle right now, for a lot of people, and whether they realize it or not, in my opinion, is humanity versus technology. You know, the movie The Matrix came out, I don't know when, the 90s, late 90s, and it was sort of science fiction at that point. But you know, so much of what that movie portrayed is actually happening now. People are literally physically connecting to the internet. Like, there's people getting implants. There's people paying for their groceries with their palms. I met, you know, having worked in tech even 10 years ago, the head of IT for a very large company had a chip installed in the palm of his, right here, so that he didn't need a key card to get into anywhere in the building. He would just rub his hand. He was tired of having a lanyard key card. And I want to say he did so willingly. So I think we've reached the stage where do we have to pick sides? Probably. And I think the side that everyone should be picking is, you know, the goodness of humanity.
Thomas
That's just me.
said the only way that tyranny, this kind of tyranny, Greg, can flourish is if good guys like you and me, we just do nothing.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's accurate. I think looking at where we are, there is a purposeful there's a systematic plan in place to have people do less and less with their hands, with their minds, with their bodies. You know, that movie, what was that movie? It was like I think it was a Disney movie, and Wall-E, which came out many years ago, and it sort of showed what happens when humans are given the option of doing nothing. Many of them will do nothing. That's their, you know, their leisure, their, you know, having to work as little as possible for as much reward. And as much as that seems like a cool idea, I don't think it's congruent with the laws of nature. Even something so simple as you know, reaction response, or turning a light switch. You know, there needs to be an action to have a reaction. And my concern right now for my daughter in the future is, you know, thinking that when you press a button on your phone or on a computer, that there's some magical thing that makes, for example, these packages show up at your doorstep. And it takes away all of that space in the middle because no one gets to see. No one gets to see the labor. No one gets to see the manufacturing. No one gets to see the sweat. So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, you've made records the old-fashioned way. Also, if you pick up a record, you might surmise Greg's a control freak, but I'm surmising that you've worked with people, obviously famous people like Steve Albini. But when it comes to your music, no
Yeah.
computers. You're going to write it, you're going to compose it, you're going to play on it, stands of the horns. You're going to produce it, you're going to mix it, and you're going to release it on your own record label.
Yes, these are all true things.
But you're not a control freak. It's just that's the way you like to do it.
Andy, it's some people golf, some people surf, or anything physical to me is worthy. Any physical if you want to call it pastime or hobby or commitment to excellence. And for me, I just was raised into music, and not just music. At the time you and I were growing up, you needed your hands. You needed to blow into something. You needed to hit something. You needed to strum something. It was all physical. Even the great Rhodes electric piano that I have and I love and I can't wait to write more on. There's physical things happening even though it's plugged in. Same with an electric guitar. I don't oppose, I'm not a Luddite. I don't oppose. I mix and master on computers. I do a lot of work on the computer. But for me, like to have, after I'm done with my labors, to have like this physical thing, which I brought one just so everyone could see. This is called a record. That's my goal, is to keep as much of this in the physical world as possible.
It's a physical endeavor. It's not just one finger. It's you pull the record out of the sleeve and you actually place it on a turntable. And after you've turned on the amplifier and the turntable, you either pick up the needle and put it on, or you hit a little button and it does it for you. And is an inherent joy, those 3 seconds before you hear Give 'Em Enough Rope or any of your favorite leadoff tracks. Isn't that the reason you continue to make vinyl?
Yeah, I think it's almost more important now for me to be in the physical space with my music. I think that, I'm recalling as we're talking in the, early 2000s, we were playing at Luna Lounge in the Lower East Side. I'm sure Andy remembers the Luna Lounge in the Lower East Side. The famous place the Strokes used to play before they went to the Mercury Lounge. And a guy was on stage. He showed up with just a laptop. And I remember looking at the band and being like, is he going to play solitaire up there? Like, are we going to witness anything being created? And for me, that is the analog world. When I go see a band, I want to see that interaction between human beings. And the extension of that is, having a physical piece of art at the end of the process. Even again, as I said, there are computers that will be used. I will upload the files to the internet to get them to the vinyl pressing place so they can make stampers and so forth. But to use a computer, I think we have to, as Prince once said, it's great to use the computer. Don't let the computer use you. And I think that's a great quote.
Well, Tron being one of your favorite movies, what do they say in the beginning?
I love when you bring up Tron, because it's just, even the word just gets me so,
I know.
I feel like a little kid. I saw that. When was that? 1982. So I was probably 8 or 9, and I went to the theater and I saw that movie. And it stuck with me in ways that it took me years to understand. And it's funny to think about a lot of the people that I know of my generation that saw that movie ended up going into creative pursuits that also meshed with things like desktop publishing and computer driven animation. There's a whole slew of us, us, let's call us later middle aged artists that, upon seeing that movie, saw using technology for good and not for evil, which is kind of what we talked about a little earlier. And I've loved all three Tron movies. I have no problem with any of them, even the newest one. Jared Leto be damned. I thought it was an excellent film.
Speaking of Jared, yes, 30 Seconds to Mars.
I'm not really a fan, but good for him.
Speaking of the Mercury Lounge, when Virgin Records called and said, all right, we have this band, it's the summer of 2002, but be forewarned, it's fronted by a famous actor. Now, of course, I was watching My So-Called Life, and I got the word, you better be at the Mercury Lounge August 15th, 2002. They're coming to the Mercury Lounge. And I'm thinking, okay, Mercury Lounge, first video, Capricorn, a brand new name. I'd already watched the video, and I kind of figured, okay, this is a 6-figure video. Jared must have done the deal with the director. Look, you make this expensive video and I'll be in your next movie. Who knows? They up in a bus. A bus. I didn't know a bus could get through the Holland Tunnel. They must have gone over the George Washington Bridge.
Wow.
So they invites me on the bus, and of course, I don't know Jared Leto from Jared from Subway. I just don't. And he was very anxious because I think he felt like, being an actor, or better known as an actor, he would not be taken seriously. And I promised him, I said, it's all good. Great music will always find an audience. And
then he didn't make any.
After the show, he's like, you got to come down tomorrow night to Philly to see us play at the Khyber Pass. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Khyber Pass? That hole in a wall?
Is the through that street?
It did. It was parked right outside of the Mercury Lounge. And I used them, along with the Lumineers and Maroon 5 and Paramore, as the example. From small acorns, big oak trees can grow. And I am a lifelong mission here for you, Greg Hoy, and your boys to really just be appreciated and heralded and talked about all over this world torn asunder as one of the greats. You write a lot of songs, and on Hit Music there is a few highlights. Certainly, What My People. It was the first single released earlier this year, and we had the great pleasure, we're grateful we had the opportunity to promote the video. Then you followed it up with Last Quarter, and that's the video we're promoting. And it's in that song that you mention your only daughter.
Tell
us the story. I know the story, but I think our viewers and listeners, everyone checking out this transmission, should know this story.
The funny thing no one tells you before you become a parent, especially as any sort of artist, is what's the phrase? You've been training your whole life for this. And I joked the first year about, here's my greatest creative project launch yet, just having a human being that suddenly was my responsibility. And it became apparent to me, pardon the pun, that if I were to continue to be an authentic artist, I would have to draw from that well. And the song, the last quarter song, was speaking of analog. There was a Miss Pac-Man machine, a standing classic '80s Miss Pac-Man machine at the Craftsman Coffee Shop in Pacifica, California, where we used to hang out. And my daughter became rightfully so fascinated by Pac-Man. I mean, anyone that wants to look up the phenomenon that Pac-Man was when it came out, which, by the way, along with Tetris, are the two games played the most by women of all time. So there's something about there's a whole study about it you can read. But anyway, she would always say, "Dad, can I have another quarter so I can play Miss Pac-Man?" And I started thinking about this idea of the last quarter because as an older parent, I thought to myself, not only have I given my daughter this coin in my pocket, but I'm giving her the last 25 years, let's say, of my life, depending. And that, I always love, Andy, a good double or triple entendre when it comes to songwriting and lyrics and making things both concrete and ambiguous for the listener.
Mm-hmm. You do that. Okay.
I mean, I want to say this. I like obvious lyrics too. Like as much as I am not a fan of Taylor Swift, I think the song "Shake It Off" is quite good and quite catchy. And there's no depth there, I don't think.
There's a reason why she is so wildly popular.
I haven't figured it out yet, but let me know.
You might want to ask your daughter.
She's into an artist called Mini Squid right now. And she's also a fan of, her favorite song is called Yum Yum Breakfast Burrito, which I ended up playing for the band on the last tour. And I think they were pretty angry at me for giving them that earworm for the rest of the trip.
It's stuck in their head, Greg.
It's a good one.
Yeah. It's true. Sometimes everything you need to know in life, you've basically figured it out by the time you're 5.
Yeah, isn't there a like everything I ever needed to know I learned in kindergarten meme?
It's so true. All right, so the move. Certainly you were a mover, shaker, urban verb, New York City. But then after a decade, you're like, no, go west, young Greg, go west.
Yes.
And now you're in a new environs. Talk about it.
Yeah, I had a quick stopover here in Boulder, Colorado, 15 years ago. So I was living in New York City for 15 years, and I got a job in Colorado and followed that. And then I was only here for about 9 months, and then I got a pretty good life-changing job in California. But I always kind of kept Boulder, Colorado in the back of my head, not knowing if I would come back or not. But there's a feeling here that was lacking for me in San Francisco in the Bay Area. And it's weird. I found in the urban environments that I lived in, which I have 30 years experience, oftentimes making art and being an artist was consistently compromised by the idea of earning money, because as you and I both know, those two things don't always go together. For very, very rare few are they able to, make enough money in this capitalistic system by doing art to continue doing art. So when the time came that I had sort of said to myself, okay, I'm done with focusing on spending my time solely making money, which, to be clear, I never have, but there certainly was a burst of a decade or so where I had opportunity to do so. I wanted to go somewhere where there was not a focus on it. There was a focus on, life-work balance, not work-life balance. I think what we're going to see, and this is kind of full circle back to tech, is more people will be forced to not work, which is both terrifying and kind of amazing for the culture. And Colorado, in and of itself, for those of you that don't know, it still feels a little like the Wild West here. There's still less borders, there's less boundaries, there's less this idea that your identity is prescribed to you by how you earn your income. And that, to me, is an exciting way to kind of get into this new part of my life. For the first time ever, I've built out a pretty robust studio. Pilates. I'm next door to this incredible recycling. Having that community in a like New York City or San Francisco is becoming increasingly difficult due to, let's say, it's cost prohibitive. So coming here not only felt great for the artist and Greg, but also to expose my 5-year-old to a different way of looking at how you should be spending your days. That was a very long answer, and I appreciate the question.
It was a good answer.
I'm nothing if not honest most of the time.
And that's why we listen to your records, because you give voice to the voiceless. You help us feel less alone, feel a way we'd rather be feeling. And I have no doubt that Hit Music is not your final record that you will be releasing. And can we expect this to be the studio of your dreams?
Yeah, I think things are going to expand pretty quickly. Like I have some electronic records. I have like a improv-y jazz thing I'd like to put together. I think I'm not really building it as a commercial studio. I'm building it as like a muse kind of studio. I have a lot of friends that want to come record just for the fun of it. And I'm very excited about it. And I'm looking for a Miss Pac-Man for it. So.
Mm-hmm. And what is the estimated time of completion?
We're pretty close. I actually set up a drum kit this weekend, and my daughter wrote her first ever song, which I should read you. Actually, Andy, may I read you the lyrics that little daughter Hoy said? It was all improvised. I got on the drums and just kind of played a nice, like, easy beat. I gave her the microphone. I turned up the reverb just enough. And here's the words that came out of her mouth, which, by the way, everybody, these are now, I'm saying this in the internet. So proprietary words for my daughter's songwriting career, her first song. Show this world where I belong every second of the day. I was lost in the woods, so I tried to let out my words to my mother. 5 years old. That's why I have the studio.
Mm-hmm. And I would think having a talented, creative songwriting dad, that's going to be a great plus if indeed, and of course, we don't try to tell our kids what to do, if she does decide to become a musical creator, but it seems like she's already on that path.
You know, I got her the drum kit. I got her a pink guitar for Christmas last year, and I have video. The first thing she did, she strapped it on, and I plugged it into a little Peavey solo amp. God bless Peavey. For those that don't know, that was it still is a American manufacturer of musical instruments. And the video is her strapping on the guitar, and all she did was take it and walk right up to the speaker and hold it against the speaker until it. I don't ever recall doing that in front of her. So, yeah, maybe she's Jimi Hendrix. We'll find out.
But she had it in her DNA to know that if she did that, she could make noise.
Yes, I like the noise making.
All right, in just 48 hours, you're going to be someplace else, and if it's all about creating events around your music, you got a big one this Thursday. Can you share the folks tuned into this transmission what's going on?
Well, even though I've moved, we still, for the last 3 or 4 years, have done our annual holiday show at Bottom of the Hill in San Francisco, which is just a legendary venue that pretty much every band has played on their way to some bigger venue. We used to do it at another club that's no longer in San Francisco before the pandemic, and we migrated over to Bottom of the Hill. But yeah, we have a great show planned. There's rumor that Santa and an elf are going to be there with a sack full of goodies. Greg Hoy and the boys are paying for all the eggnog drinks, whether they are spiked or not. And then, you know, I always go into hibernation for the first few months of the year. I'm working on a musical, finally, which I started in 2020. And I'm working on a collaborative book about how to be embodied in a time of disembodiment with a dear friend of mine, Greg the Monk. And, you know, I'll just be getting the studio ready for whatever creative endeavors need to be accomplished within.
Title yet for the upcoming musical?
Well, Andy, I can't discuss it.
Okay.
But I will say it is something that I think, based on, you know, some of the producers I've spoken with in New York, if we can achieve what I hope we can achieve, will be quite fun.
That's what we need. We got to stay fun.
Gotta stay fun.
And how many of the songs that you consider will be in the new musical have already been written?
Well, it's an interesting musical, Andy. I can tell you this much. There is a band in the musical. And that band is writing songs. So some of the musical is this particular band's songs, which I wrote several years ago with a dear pal of mine that used to play bass, and Greg Hoy and the boys. They've been sitting on a hard drive for pre-pandemic. And then a few of my songs that I've already written will probably be in there, just because why reinvent the wheel if it a little, is what I'm the most excited about.
Well, you have been, and continue to be busier than a one-legged guy in an ass-kicking contest. I don't know how you do it, especially with a 5-year-old daughter. Certainly a lovely distraction in the life of Greg Hoy. But
certainly,
just Before we wrap up here, anything else you want to share with everybody checking out the transmission? And then, of course, the plug.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I think one is I've been so excited to work with you and the team for the last few years because I actually think video is still an underutilized medium for artists. I think as we get deeper and deeper into the Sola and the AI generated videos that seem to be taking over our screens for our eyeballs, it's more important than ever to get your own camera and come up with a little story and film it and give it to your friends and give it to your fans. It's as much as it feels, and you and I talked about this early on, as much as sometimes it feels like the idea of video as a medium for a musician is a thing of the past. I actually think it's even more important now, especially as we look at things that we're not sure if they are real or not. We're not sure if they are human-made content or computer-generated. So I encourage everyone to do that. That's the first thing. And I think the second thing I'll say is anyone that is thinking about becoming a songwriter or an artist, a singer, the best advice I ever got was just don't stop. I think oftentimes in my years, I'm sure you've seen it too, Andy, so many people that were so influential to us just stop doing it. And I respect that on a certain level. I myself have taken time off, but I don't think the making stuff, especially stuff that you can share with other people, that will help inspire them to also, be creative and make stuff.
You're
And
always
that is all I have to say.
No, you're always making stuff. In fact, I have had clients who have promoted a dozen videos with us, but that would be over 10, 12 years. I think Justina Valentine got up around 18 or 19, or of
Great.
Montreal. They were, Greg, in just 6 years.
Where are we at?
I think we're coming up on 20 Greg Hoy music videos. Remarkable.
No.
And
Really?
these are not AI, ladies and gentlemen. These are humanity oozing out of every frame. Don't laugh. You know it's true. Unicorns.
Well, wait till you see the next one.
I can't. I can just tell you, we are always grateful because I really do. I'm going to share something. I have a bandmate, and we'll get albums. He's the guy who loves no whatever Spotify, Apple. He loves the ritual of putting
Yeah.
the record on the turntable and turning up the speakers, the little Bose speakers that
Heck yeah.
I encouraged him to buy in 1988 when I worked at Tops Appliance City as a salesman.
Are they not? Wait, are they 901s?
They are Bose 901s.
I just sold a pair. They were my main speakers for 5 years.
You try to tell the youngins that there's a warmth, there's a genuineness that comes out of these pieces of vinyl. You're just an old fuddy-duddy. You don't know anything. But the record, it's just, as Lou Reed sang, is like these albums. They are records. They are letters, straight from the heart. They are evergreen. They live in perpetuity. They will always be there. And just grateful that with all this music, you do appreciate the importance of how you can take your song and marry it to a visual to tell the story. And you're quite good at it.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that, especially coming from someone who's seen so many videos and heard so many songs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyway, Adam.
And here's the other thing.
Adam absolutely loves this record. He's like, where'd you find this guy? I said, well, he found me, but I'm trying really hard to get him to be at a level where his talents and his songcraft, the appreciation, it kind of bums me out that there are those out there that criminally overlook your talents, and I'm here to try to fix that, Greg, if you'd allow me to help. Yes.
I'm so happy that we're teammates in that. What I've discovered over these years, especially I would say in the last, let's say, decade, as the former music industry crumbles to the ground, which is not a bad thing. The cream kind of rises to the top, and there's also a good bit of tenacity, and even though I talked about money early on, putting money in the right places. And when I talk to young artists, there's oftentimes, the big question people ask me all the time is, how do you afford to go on tour? That's like the one thing. It's like it used to be, how do you get signed? That was the big question, right? How do you get signed? And now, the young artists are always like, how do you afford to go on tour? And the answer is you don't. It's not a sustaining thing, but some people will spend their money going to Disneyland. Some people will spend their money, booking a weekend golf getaway. I've always been of the opinion that playing shows and traveling to tour has been that's my getaway. It's a release for me. So in looking at it that way, I have fine-tuned the finance part. And some of that includes educating yourself on the tax system and educating yourself on being an artist you're a legitimate artist, and that is who you are, and let the government know that too. Mm-hmm. I don't know where I was going with all that, but the point is, I ain't gonna stop. I'm constantly trying to find new avenues, venues, people that are on board with getting the word out about hit music.
Absolutely. And if there are those, because the vast majority of our viewership are fellow musical creatives, Greg, if you want to answer that question, or gosh, how do you have a successful tour? I mean, yes, tour. 3 years ago, Greg, we had you as a guest on.
That's right.
And you
were coming through.
Question. And you did it here in the borough of South River. It was wonderful. On Hit Music, we talk about working your buttocks off your entire freaking life, so you can have a backyard and a little scenery. And you came to South River, New Jersey, and you saw that's me. I just want a backyard and scenery here in the Great Garden State, and you came to visit. Thank you for doing that. That was fun.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I don't think it's an accident that hip and hit music are so closely related.
We really are. We are simpatico in a way that I think, we're just going to to borrow our mantra, keep fighting the good fight. And you're going to inspire me until that last note rings out, because most people shift off this mortal coil with their best music still inside of them. And one thing for certain, everybody, it ain't going to happen to Greg Hoy.
And I also want to say I appreciate all the Greg Hoy swag you're wearing for this interview.
Some people would think, okay, well, this is just, showing reverence. But no, I really do encourage you to listen to hit music. And of course, if you like hit music, you can go back to this one.
Yay for effort.
What a and that was during a difficult time, man. That was a difficult time for Greg Hoy.
Got to get it out. Got to get it out.
Yeah, bottling it all up, right?
Yep. More important than ever.
All right, plugs. I would just say Google Greg Hoy and you got it.
Yeah, I mean, and also I'm easy to find on Instagram and the YouTube, and I'm always open if since you have a lot of artists, if anyone wants to email me or message me, like I'm always open to talking about the artist experience. And I know the big word is collab, yes. But I'm a little too insular for that, but I'm always happy to talk to artists.
Okay, and the big feature article in Cream magazine.
Yeah, it's out right now. Actually, I think what's today, the 16th. I think it came out yesterday. That's pretty excited. It's just a full page spread. It's not a lot of not an interview or anything. But the lovely Anna Copacabana from New York City, who you've seen her in a few of my videos. Comfort Vendetta, I think, was the last one she was in that we shot in Brooklyn over at the Ace Hotel. She was totally game to just be the model for it. So she did a lovely job, and she's definitely worth your time.
All right, I want to thank.
And Cream Magazine's just awesome.
Yes, and anybody who just hearing the word, and of course you want to Google that with 2 E's, everybody, just to not get with the band that Eric and Ginger in. Anyway, I will send you lots of positive vibrations on Thursday night. Bottom of the Hill. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Legendary. You're going to bring the festive holiday cheer. And
always.
I just encourage everybody to go check out Greg Hoy, especially this record right behind me, Hit Music. It is a winner. And Greg, thank you. Thank you for joining us today on the Hip Spotlight YouTube live stream.
Thank you, Andy. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, everyone at Hip Music. I feel very blessed that we've been working together this long, and we'll continue to.
Absolutely. All right. Go enjoy the rest of your day, Greg, and stay strong and stay fun.
You got it.
All right. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Andy.